Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Grand Cat, and today it's now time for us to do the watch party predictions for a clash in Paris, which is in France, just in case people didn't know where Paris was. But we have 6 matches on the card today, and I'm going to be going over each of them and deciding who I think is going to win. So, they're listed from 1 to 6 here. We're going to go from 6 all the way back up to number 1. So number 6 is the Wyatt 6, Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy as the tag team champions, defending the belts against the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford. Then we have Becky Lynch defending the Women's Intercontinental Championship against Nikki Bella. Then we have Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman in a singles match, presumably for the Shula Fala. And then we've got Sheamus versus Rusev in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match. Then in the main events, there's 2 main events apparently, we have Seth Rollins defending the World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight in a fatal 4-way. And then lastly we have the greatest of all time, the Unseen 17, big match John Cena versus the Maverick Logan Paul. So let's go over this from the bottom to top. The Wyatts, Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy haven't been tag team champions for that long, and I think if WWE really wants to make a storyline out of them in the Wyatt 6, particularly with Bo Dallas doing a little bit of promos backstage when he was talking to both The Miz and Carmelo Hayes, and also talking to Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford, I think the Wyatt 6 have to defend their tag titles. So I am going to say that Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy are going to win. Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella for the Women's Intercontinental Championship match. This to me feels like what they kind of call a showcase match, which is the kind of thing where you've got a big marquee match, but you don't actually intend to have the title swap plans. I think it would be really surprising for Nikki Bella to win the Intercontinental Championship. She has a history and a legacy, but does she really need the belt at this stage in her career? I think there is more storylines going on with Becky Lynch, with the likes of Bayley, with the likes of Lyra Valkyria, even though Lyra Valkyria can't challenge for the Intercontinental title anymore. I think there's still a lot more story to tell there, and I think putting the belt on Nikki Bella doesn't do anything. So I'm going to say that Becky Lynch is going to retain. Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman. I don't think Bronson Reed has a hope in hell of winning. I would be absolutely shocked if in a one-on-one match, even with being a bit of, shenanigans going on and such, I don't see Roman Reigns losing cleanly to Bronson Reed. I think if anything, more likely, Roman Reigns either just wins and just takes back his Shula Falas, his shoes, or Braun Breaker and maybe some other interference, maybe the likes of, I'm not sure if Seth Rollins is going to interfere or not, but I think this whole thing is just planned to have Roman Reigns just get his, for Bronson Reed to get his comeuppance against Roman Reigns. I'd be shocked if Bronson Reed won that match, if I'm honest. Sheamus versus Rusev. Now, this may be a controversial take, but who asked for this match to be on pay-per-view? This is the kind of thing that we would normally see on SmackDown. I mean, sure, it's a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match, but we've seen this before. Apart from, instead of Rusev, it was Cesaro. And the whole thing was Sheamus and Cesaro, they fought against each other tooth and nail. They hated each other and everything until Commissioner Mick Foley made them into a tag team. And I think they're going to do the exact same thing again. I think all this is leading up to Sheamus and Rusev becoming a tag team and then essentially becoming a new version of the Viking Raiders. 2 big tough guys. They're going to be like a new version of the Bar. It's just like, why are we doing this again? But that's what it feels like to me, at least. It feels like Feels like time is a square circle, and that we are repeating ourselves. That the storylines are regurgitating. That's certainly what it feels like. Because it's a good old fashioned Donnybrook match, and Sheamus and Rusev have been trading wins recently, I would go for Sheamus, but it's a coin flip. Could very well be Rusev. Then let's talk about the Fatal 4-Way for the World Heavyweight Championship match. I don't see Seth Rollins dropping the belt. I think it's far too early. I think he hasn't had enough time with the championship. I also think that Clash in Paris, unfortunately, is all the Clash pay-per-views have all been a kind of like a B show. I really think that Drew McIntyre should have won the world title in Scotland in Clash at the Castle in Scotland, but no, they decided to keep the belt on Damian Priest for whatever reason, even though that would have been the biggest pop of the century. But I really just don't see Seth Rollins losing. I think that CM Punk, JSO, and LA Knight are going to get in each other's way. I also think because it's a Fatal 4-Way, there's no disqualifications. You're going to see Bronson Reed coming back out again. You're going to see Braun Breaker running out. You're going to see a lot of interference. And you're going to see Seth Rollins retaining the championship by hook or by crook, by some way, in some manner possible. I think Seth Rollins is walking away with World Heavyweight Championship again. Then we've got John Cena versus Logan Paul. Now, this is actually a lot harder than what you might think to guess. You might be thinking John Cena wins easily because it's his last year. He's against Logan Paul. He needs to look strong going into his match against Brock Lesnar, and he absolutely has to beat Brock Lesnar because the last time that them two will ever fight each other if John Cena's retiring. So surely John Cena is going to win. However, if Logan Paul wins through some method of cheating, or if Brock Lesnar jumps the crowd and does an F5 to John Cena on the outside, Logan Paul is the kind of heel that could run with that for like the next year, saying that he beat the greatest of all time, John Cena, and it would get him over as such a heel. Like people already hate him, but people would hate him so much more for taking up one of John Cena's last matches. Now, at this point, I think on SmackDown that was John Cena's 10th last appearance. So John Cena only has 9 appearances left at the point of Clash in Paris. I believe it might even be less than that. Maybe 8. Maybe I miscounted. Maybe it's 10. But I mean, we're down to like the last single-digit numbers of appearances of John Cena we're going to see as him as a main roster member. I mean, maybe once he retires, he'll come back, he'll be a GM, maybe he'll come back, he'll be a manager, maybe he'll come back and do something else, or maybe he'll just stay entirely away from WWE and just go into movies, because that's seemingly what he seems to want to do. But I mean, that's what The Rock did, that's what Dwayne The Rock Johnson did, and it's what Dave Bautista did. But how does John Cena do his final career here? Does John Cena, if we think about the backstage politics, does John Cena do the favors, which means lying down, taking the pin, for Logan Paul to make Logan Paul into a bigger star, or does John Cena end his career with his only loss in his last year being to Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, the UWO title, which would make John Cena look very, very strong? But we all know that John Cena has been very open about it, that he thinks that Logan Paul is a future WrestleMania main eventer and possibly even a future WWE Hall of Famer, and certainly a WWE World Champion in the making. Is this the point where John Cena loses to Logan Paul? I mean, he's not going to lose clean. Logan Paul isn't going to just beat John Cena. That's not happening. If Logan Paul wins, it'll be through some shenanigans. It'll be through the brass knucks. It'll be through someone coming out and interfering. It'll be through some kind of, illegal maneuver or some kind of thing where John Cena doesn't lose clean. But I think there's a possibility that Logan Paul could win that match. The other side of the coin is this is Clash in Paris. And we know that Seth Rollins, the heel, the bad guy, is probably almost certainly winning the Fatal 4-Way for the Heavyweight Championship. So do we have John Cena beat Logan Paul in a final match as a final feel-good, go-home, make the crowd happy match? And it's John Cena's last match in Paris, in France. It's his last match in France, not just Paris, just the entirety of. In fact, actually, is possibly his last match in the entire continent of Europe. So, could John Cena win to make the fans go home happy? Or could Logan Paul win and be insufferable for the next year? Maybe even a year plus? Remember when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker's streak? Paul Heyman came out and for like a year, he introduced Brock Lesnar as the one behind the one in 21-1. Brock Lesnar. And like, you could absolutely see Logan Paul being see the same way that John Cena has the commentator, like come out and say that he's the greatest of all time, the Unseen 17, gracing your presence for the last time. Logan Paul could get the announcer to do a similar thing. The Maverick, the megastar, the man who beat the Unseen 17 greatest of all time, John Cena, and the audience would boo so loudly, and Logan Paul would get over as one of the biggest heels in the business, which he already is, but it would skyrocket him to Triple H levels of hate. And I could very well see a position where Logan Paul could beat John Cena, but I could also see where John Cena could beat Logan Paul. Which one does WWE go for? I don't know. I'm honestly unsure. What one would I rather see? I would rather see John Cena win. But if Logan Paul wins, I completely understand it. So with that said, let's go over who we've got. Let's go over everyone. And I think from the bottom, straight to the top, Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy will defend the WWE Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits. Becky Lynch will defend her Intercontinental Championship against Nikki Bella. Roman Reigns will defeat Bronson Reed and reclaim the Shula Fala. Sheamus will probably beat Rusev. Seth Rollins is definitely retaining his World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk, JSO, and LA Knight. And Logan Paul versus John Cena is the match with the biggest stakes on the line, despite the fact that it's a singles match with nothing on the line. I am unsure. So let's see what we've got here. Becky Lynch, yeah, she is winning. I would have had Sami Zayn for the United States Championship, but that match happened on SmackDown. Don't know why. I'm going to put John Cena in. Just because I've got a high rank in John Cena and don't have a high rank in Logan Paul. It's not a good reason to choose him, but that's what we're going for. Roman Reigns, yeah. Who is our next one? CM Punk is not winning it, unfortunately. Bronson Reed isn't winning either. Eric Rowan, that's unfortunate that he's not part of the tag team. There's a Montez Ford, but I don't think Montez Ford is winning the tag titles, unfortunately. Braun Breaker, it doesn't have a match. We're going through the card now. Well, there's our closest Seth freaking Rollins, and I think he is retaining. So who are we looking for now? We're looking for a Sheamus. We're looking for a Dexter Lumis or a Joe Gacy. Well, in that case, we're looking for males. Because there isn't any other female matches other than Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella. Although I'm pretty sure that, if memory serves me right, I think that Stephanie McCure was supposed to be fighting Naomi at Clash in Paris, and then the title got vacated, so I thought that Stephanie McCure was going to be fighting someone for the vacated title at Clash in Paris, and for some reason that's just not on the match card. So Maybe they just quietly put that to the side and hope that no one will notice. Well, big old Grand Cat noticed. There's a Rusev. It's not Sheamus. Am I going to go for Rusev just on the basis that I've got a high-ranking Rusev and I don't have a high-ranking Sheamus? That's a terrible reason to do that. There's an Uncle Howdy, but again, well, there's a Sheamus. I think Sheamus is winning. So now we're literally looking for Dexter Lumis or Joe Gacy. Which unfortunately neither of them have had any special event cards or anything, so we're just going to have to hope that we've got something. There's another Montez Ford. Man, we've got... Okay, there's a few Joe Gacy's. We've got quite a few cards here that need to be proed. Is this literally all of them? It is. Wow. No, not British Bulldog. As much as I'd like to see British Bulldog in Europe again, unfortunately, he has... he is no longer with us, unfortunately. Passed away far too young. Although his son still wrestles. We might see him in the WWE one day. I think we're just going to have to go for Joe Gacy here. So there we are. Those are my predictions. Once again, just to cover everything, I think Wyatt 6, Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy are defending the titles against Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford. I think Becky Lynch is defending her belt against Nikki Bella. I think Roman Reigns is beating Bronson Reed. I'm going to go with Sheamus over Rusev in the good old Donnybrook match. Good old-fashioned Donnybrook match, even. Seth Rollins, I am saying, is going to defend his world title against CM Punk GSO in an LA Knight. And then John Cena versus Logan Paul. It is a 50-50 coin flip. I can't tell who is going to win. I can tell you that I would rather see John Cena win over Logan Paul. But if Logan Paul does win, I think it does an awful lot more for Logan Paul's career. And Logan Paul is going to be in WWE for a number of years, as unfortunate as some of you may think that is. And I think it does more for WWE for Logan Paul to win than for John Cena to win. But depends on, do you want the short term, do you want the fans to go happy, do you want John Cena to look strong going into his match against Brock Lesnar? Because if Logan Paul was to beat John Cena clean, John Cena would look so weak going into his match against Brock Lesnar at what is presumably going to be WrestlePalooza. But that is my opinions, folks. Let me know if you agree or disagree with them. If you want to copy my answers, by all means, feel free to do so. I am normally fairly good at predicting these things, not all the time, but I do have a pretty good record in wins and losses. Although sometimes it can really surprise me and I can get swerved something horrible. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I do love hearing from the Grand Cat Grand Fleet. And with that said, folks, that is now going to be it for this little video, and I really hope you've all enjoyed. And if you did enjoy it, please give me a like, share, and subscribe. And if you are subscribed, make sure you click that notification icon so that you can see when more of these glorious little videos go out. And we shall see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everybody.